Congratulations. But let's begin. The soludo solutions, there are those who will be asking, where are those solutions that you promised over 2 years ago when you were seeking office, and when you came into office, you didn't stop on the soludo solution. It wasn't just a party campaign promise. You said it's going to be a driving force for your governance. And you said today that the government has not bought any vehicle, not even a bicycle for your wife. You had said you have not taken any salary. The last time on the program, you told me that you've still not borrowed any money 2 years down the line. It does look like that your attitude when you were at the CBN, you're bringing it to the governance of Anambra State. But to what extent? Because there is some kind of economic downturn in the country. How are you able to execute projects? And by the way, some of the projects that you say that you will execute, let's begin by talking about the mega city. You said you are going to turn Anambra State into mega cities. How many of the mega cities have you created?
Thank you very much. That's a short question with a very long answer. I think you will be asking for the 100 footprints that we presented today, and we spoke for an hour plus. I think I'll better send you a copy of that to show you what the footprints are over this period. And thank you very much for putting a preface to this conversation by laying out the 5 key pillars and our mission here to, lay the foundation for a livable and prosperous smart mega city. Anambra as one smart mega city. That's what it is. That's what, when we say mega, is when it gets over 10 million people in it. We're very intentional, very deliberate, and very focused on this. Putting the foundational steps. I think 2 parts to your question are some of the milestones. First is that we've been focused on the 2 documents that provide a compass for our administration. The Soludo Solution, the People's Manifesto. That is one. The second is Anambra Vision 2070, which I chaired the committee that produced it. This administration is the first government after Vision 2070, and we're very deliberate, despite all the challenges and circumstances, to lay the foundation for the actualization of the Vision 2070 and the Soludo Solution under the 5-part agenda. Number 1, security, law, and order. That is, without it, you don't go anywhere else. Everybody knows when we came in, the state of affairs, 8 local governments under total firm grip by the hoodlums, and today largely liberated, and it's still a work in progress to have a total rule of law and order, and security of lives and property. We have advanced very massively. Some will put it even at more than 80% done, but there's still skirmishes here and there. Of course, it's an ongoing process. The others about law and order in the society, getting touts and criminals off the streets and markets and so on. And there is testimony now that our anti-touting and so on crusade, people are now coming back again from all over the country to shop at Onitsha and the environs and so on. Anambra is the biggest commercial city in West Africa, but Onitsha was almost dying and gone and so on and so forth. We are rebuilding these cities. Urban regeneration is on course. We're breathing back life massively into Onitsha and the environs. Oka is beginning to look even more so like a state capital, largely, at least the testimonies by the people and the indigenous and those who live around here. And then you get on to our bit on second pillar about infrastructure and economic transformation. There's quite a whole lot. Of course, you know about infrastructural transformation. One of the national papers was even named as 2023 Governor of the Year on account of infrastructural transformation within the short period of time. If you ask the typical average Anambra person, what's your priority? They will tell you number 1 is road, number 2 road, number 3 road. Of course, I understand it. And that, in our place here, very enterprising. If they can move around, they can do the business. And it's also critical to laying the foundation for the future. Beside producing now a master plan, a transportation master plan for both rail, water, and land for the next 30, 40, 50 years. Besides producing them, we are very deliberately now building those foundations. More than 400 kilometers of roads being tarred as we speak, and over 240 completed, asphalted. A quality that the state hasn't seen before, sub-cement stabilization with stone base and then thick asphalt, as it were. That's an average of about 10 kilometers per month for the last 24 months. And people think, comparative to history and elsewhere, that this is quite a feat, not where we want to be. We would like to be doing much more than that. Then you get onto the economic thing, the revolution we're doing in the area of agriculture with our coconut and palm revolution, distributed over 1 million seedlings so far, on course to distribute another 1 million this year. It's a silent revolution that will eliminate poverty from our people, empower the people, good for the environment, a green state, and also create a new ecosystem for the environment, industrially. Then we're getting on our industrialization. Of course, part of the new cities, you talked about new cities, 3 brand new cities being designed, completed design. We're now getting into the next phase of execution. It's an industrial city with automotive park, pharmaceutical park, agro-processing park, and the others with entertainment and so on, even prospects for a future airport as well. That is ongoing. There is the new Oka 2.0. That's about 4,000 hectares of land as well. The design is being completed, and Onitsha 2.0 as well. So on agriculture, we have regenerative agriculture ongoing, and then, of course, a coconut and palm revolution that is silently. Our target is to be able to distribute 5 million to 10 million improved seedlings of these two over the next couple of years, and that will totally change the landscape of Anambra and wealth, as it were. Now you get, of course, industrialization. I've mentioned that. Quite huge steps ongoing. Youth empowerment, we've trained and empowered some 5,000 youths in a very unique way. Another 8,000 now being screened to start going on through the training and the empowerment in terms of, mainstreaming our One Youth, Two Skills agenda. And then you get onto our tech. Our philosophy and our mantra is everything technology, technology everywhere. Anambra has been adjudged by the peers at the nation, the states meeting with the federal government, adjudged as being the leader in terms of tech and technology, innovation, as it were. We're intentional about building our own version of the Silicon Valley. And that's ongoing. 20,000 youths already received training, basic tech skills, over 2,000 now going on coding, specialized skills, and advanced one, with a vision to produce Anambra as a digital tribe.
Governor Soludo,
that's also ongoing. Now,
if I leave you, you could take the next 3 hours to tell Nigerians what is Soludo Solutions.
Well, you asked your question.
I'm the one who poked you. I understand. But when it comes to these issues, let me quickly ask you. So, for someone who's dealt with figures all your life, you know that the indices, if they are not in the positives, all of these governance and policy issues have not materialized at all. So the question will be, how many jobs have you created in the 2 years? What has been the incremental or the increase in IGR? What has been the GDP increase for Anambra State? Can you give us some of these figures? Since you got into office in the last 2 years, have you been able to make any mark positively in terms of these major indices of governance in Anambra State?
Well, I think the one that you just mentioned that is a very critical one is the issue of employment. Well, direct employment, this government, I think is probably the first one. I don't know anyone else. In the first 9 months of our coming into office, because of our third pillar, which you talked about, human capital and social agenda, health, education, and so on. We've employed over, within the first 9 months, we employed 5,000 teachers. directly because there are no schools without good teachers. And we are processing another 3,000 of them. We've employed over 1,000 health workers, professionals, in all our medical facilities all around the state, and so on. Then, of course, in the area of security, we have over 2,000 of them in place. So, in terms of direct employment, in terms of officially, you might be talking about well over 11,000. Now, indirectly, our statistics office will be completing a survey very soon, and that's the private sector. Because when you talk about employment, government is the enabler. Government is not how many people employed, but I have just given you the numbers, and there are very few places where you have that number of direct employment given the circumstances of the country today. But indirectly, because of the restoration of largely law and order, security coming back, businesses are beginning to inch up. I just told you the testimonials from our nation, beginning to sell again. People are beginning to expand. Factories in Anambra beginning to expand. I have gone on to flag off the expansion of several farms and the new ones that are oncoming. A survey is ongoing to be able to put together how many of those jobs, because that's where we expect the 90-something% of the jobs will be created. Hotels are getting full again, and so on and so forth. So it's the economic boom. The farmers are able to now to get back to their farms because they are able to bring out their goods from remote areas of the state, and so on and so forth. There are testimonials when I went to, commission some roads. And farmers saying for the first time they are now able to bring out their goods. Post-harvest losses down, income getting in their pockets. The keke drivers and the bus drivers now having more money because they don't go to the mechanic very so often, as these are testimonials by the people themselves. In fact, a bus driver walked up to me in Onitsha and handed me in money that he earned for the day to express his gratitude for what we are doing, and so on and so forth. So, when you look at all of this, in fact, the road that you are showing, people there, the asset value of what people are getting, the properties that used to cost maybe 1 million, 2 million naira is now being sold for 15 million and so on. People are getting wealthier, transforming the transformations that we have embarked on. On IGR, yes, we've moved. Not as far as we would like to be. When we came, we were doing 1.4, 1.5, 1.4, 1.5, 1.4, 1.5 billion a month. As at the last count, gross was about 3.2, 3.3 billion, and now, when you net off the cost of collection, getting it to a little under 3 billion. That's not where we want to be. Our target this year is to be able to exceed 4 billion, and Anambra has the potential to get up to 10 billion on a monthly basis. So this is also, but you don't go on in a very weak economy. We are slow on some processes. For example, we stopped all taxes and levies on petty traders, hawkers, these people who have capital less than 100,000, truck pushers, barrow pushers, and so on and so forth on the street. No levies, nothing, so they can also, the poor, as you say, not only breathe, but also walk and run. We're putting money in the pockets of individuals with the free education, free basic education, truly free education. That's money back in the pockets of people. Free antenatal, free delivery, including cesarean operations in all public hospitals. That's putting money back in you see the testimonials of people. About 42,079 women now undergoing various forms of antenatal in Anambra free of charge, and thousands of deliveries every month in public hospitals at zero mortality. So all these are designed to put money in the pockets of people, but creating the foundation for the human capital that will proceed. I haven't talked about when you talked about jobs. I haven't talked about the 1U2 skills. The 5,000 youths that were empowered, some of them have become employers. So that's part of what this study, our survey, is going to show. But so in terms of, you talk about IGR, you talk about employment, those are the key stuff. But then you need a survey over the medium term to be able to get to those in terms of the actual.
Governor Soludo, quickly, just in about 60 seconds, if you can help me on this particular question. In the last few months, since the removal and the substantial removal of fuel subsidy, we've seen a jump in the allocation that is coming from the federal government to the states. For example, the reports are showing that Anambra State, for example, is getting up to 70-something% increase in federal allocation. But the question is that, can we see the justification of the increase in those allocation on the livelihood, on the lives of those people? The question will be, what has Governor Soludo used those increases, which is almost double of what he used to get?
Well, let me tell you this, unfortunately, you've asked a very short question with a long answer. Let me tell you straight away, Shane. What we are receiving today is a declining value. What you are referring to is what we call in economics money illusion. It's money illusion. Anambra State is receiving today less than 20% in terms of real value, or even in dollar terms, what it received at the peak of the period previously. Indeed, compared to what we were receiving at this time last year, what we were receiving last year about this time, about 6-7 billion, and now 9-point-something billion, the 10 billion. Let me be clear to you. In terms of purchasing power, whether you calculate by purchasing power, what is money? Money is what money can buy. Okay? In terms of purchasing power in real terms or in dollar terms, compared to the previous years, when Anambra's total receipts was about 600, some 500. I have looked at the figures from 2004 till I assumed office. In fact, in 1 year, 2013, the total expenditure was 1.1 something billion. In today's Naira, that's almost 1.7, 1.8 trillion. And what we are getting today, in some years when we got about 4 billion, 5 billion as allocation, that was the time also, in dollar terms, that was 34 to 42, 43 million US dollars. That's when cement sold for a few hundred naira. Today, cement sells for over 12,000 naira. That's when diesel was less than 100 naira. Today, it sold for 1,700 and so on. But you expected to power the same vehicles. So in terms of the actual value of what we are receiving, we are actually, the value has been declining. And let me be clear. If the current trend of what we received January, February continues, probably at the end of the year, Anambra will be receiving maybe barely about $100 million, compared to 600 million, 700 million, 400 million, even up to $1 billion in some years in the past. So it is money illusion. How much does it cost? If you give someone 10,000 naira, the analogy where I want to conclude on this. If someone had 10,000 naira, maybe in 2005 or thereabout, and he could buy a bag of 50 kg bag of rice at 7,000 then. And today you give him 60,000 naira. Oh, wow, you've multiplied it by 6. Yet, that 60,000 cannot buy him the same 50 kg bag of rice. It's called money illusion. That's what we economists call money illusion. So today, the reality is Anambra is receiving declining value relative to its history in the past, even relative in terms of value relative to what we received early last year. This I can tell you authoritatively. I do the numbers all the time, and I shake my head. But guess what? In spite of this, we are still producing value or receiving less than 20-25% of what historically we are determined to give our people value of more than 5 times by doing what we call extraordinary. What our mantra here is doing more with less. We are conserving a whole lot, austerity on us. You said it at the beginning. Even at the personal level, I've refused to take any salary. My wife, there's no office of First Lady anywhere. Not to talk about a bicycle or whatever. She's using my private vehicles that I brought, with me in here, and so on. We've cut waste and cost of governance to bare bones. Our budget this year has recurrent of 23%, realistically, and everything else getting on investment. So it's required extraordinary reprioritizing what we spend, to focus on what the people's job, the priorities of the people, trying to put money in the pockets of the people by providing the environment for them to thrive. Our people are entrepreneurs, largely. So in terms of money, I want you to be on record that I said that in terms of what we receive from Federation account, the major function of money is a means of exchange, medium of exchange. Money is what money can buy.